Hey everybody, welcome back. This is game 3 between Socke and Sen in the HD World Tournament third place matchup. Winner of this series gets $250, and now the pressure is on Socke's shoulders to perform. He has to win this game in order to have a shot at winning that $250 because right now Sen is up 2 games over Socke. And remember, this is a best of 5 series, so this is do or die for Socke right now, and Sen only needs to win this last game, this game right here, if he wants to win the $250. We'll see what happens. It looks like our Protoss player Socke, the loser, has decided to play on Crossfire, which is a map that I have not seen in this tournament yet. I do believe it is in the map pool, but no player has decided to play on this map as of yet. And I think I should give you guys a quick tour of this map. It's an old map from the Brood War days. You do have a quick natural right here, and you do have rocks that kind of lead into your main, but they are very inaccessible. They kind of go around the perimeter of the map. It's like another entire route that loops around the entire map. So it's a very interesting map design. You don't often see those rocks being destroyed in the early game, but in the late game, those can definitely come into play. On top of that, we do have 2 Xel'Naga watchtowers as well, and this kind of location right here, which just kind of overlooks outside the natural expansion, is a very choked off area, and this is where Protoss players and Terran players can really make use of this kind of narrow ramp area when they're moving out against Zerg players. So look for that to be key for our Protoss player Socke. He's going to want to utilize the terrain, he's going to want to utilize the rocks, everything to his advantage if he wants to win this game, because Sen has shown that he is an extremely competent player. I mean, yes, he did lose in the semifinals, and he's not in the grand finals, but both these players are really of high caliber, and we'll see what happens here. It looks like our Protoss player Socke is going to open up with 2 gas, and he's going to have 1 gateway as well, and no doubt we're going to see Cybernetics Core to help block off that ramp, all too standard, which is what all Protoss players do nowadays. And it does look like this probe here is going to be chilling outside of the Zerg ramp for now, but I think this probe it wants to be gangster like its brother in the last game. It's going to go in here and try to do a little bit of harass, but oh no, Zergling's already out here. Sen has gotten a very fast spawning pool. And does he have... No, he did not. He just got the gas out right now, so he's not going to have early speed. In fact, he's just getting the early Zerglings out so he can pick off the probe and any pesky pylons, and now it's going to get the hatchery down. And this probe, its days are limited, but Socke is is really extending his lifespan on this probe for as long as possible, just to do all the scouting it can do, and finally gets taken out by the Queen. As the Zerglings now are free to move around the map, and I think what Sen is going to do here is just split his Zerglings apart. He's going to control the watchtowers, and he's going to use whatever Zerglings he has left to stay outside the Protoss main. And oh wow, we have a double chrono boost here on Warp Gate and on a Sentry. Huh. Wow, and he's going straight into Stargate right here, guys. Socke is thinking about going straight to the sky, so that was a little intriguing that Socke was getting an early chrono boost on both his Warp Gate and on his Sentry, but I see now the reason why. He actually has a gap right here on both directions, I believe, and so he needed to close it off with the Sentry. But either way, he is going for a Stargate, and it is tucked right in the back of his base. He's going to try to go right into Void Rays, and Sen has no idea this is coming. This could be really bad. If Socke can get out some quick Void Rays, the front door is completely covered, and no units are going to be able to get in there to do the scouting they need to do. In fact, I believe this is completely blocked off. I don't think a Zergling can leak in there. So, oh no, we actually have a Phoenix coming out from Socke's Stargate, so not going to be Void Rays. Socke is actually going to opt to go for Phoenix first here, and he may decide to go for a couple Phoenix and then go into a Void Ray. And the reason for that is you want to get early Phoenixes out so they can start to accumulate that energy for the Graviton Beam. We'll see if that's the case here. Socke actually looking to maybe get a Nexus, though. He's got 300 minerals saved up, now down to 200 as he's throwing down a pylon, so this is really interesting here. 1 gate, Stargate into Nexus, and he is still building Phoenix out of his Stargate. And look at that, guys. He's been saving all that Nexus energy for Chrono Boost this entire game. Finally, the Overlord's starting to lumber its way in, and oh no, excuse me, guys. I pushed the wrong button there. So the Overlord finally starting to lumber its way in. Backtrack just a little bit there, guys, but the Overlord is making its way in to see the Stargate, and as soon as the Overlord sees this, I think the gig is up, and I think Sen is immediately gonna probably cancel the Roach Warren. He might not be able to cancel it in time, but he's gonna quickly get extra queens out and some spore colonies, and thankfully he does have an Evo chamber, so he will be able to get some spore crawlers right away. And oh, the Phoenix finally seeing the Overlord, gonna pick that off, but the gig is up, the Phoenix have been revealed, and immediately spore crawlers being placed down, emergency spore crawlers for Sen, as he throws down 2 at his natural and 1 at his main. And no doubt, I don't think we're going to see any roaches coming out for Sen here. Because originally, you know, roaches are great against gateway units, but against Phoenixes, you really want to just focus mainly on queens and zerglings, and then eventually transition into corruptors or hydras. But here we go, 4 Phoenix flying in here, and these Phoenix are going to try to do whatever damage they can, but thanks to that scouting Overlord, the Spore Crawlers are up, and I think those Spore Crawlers are really going to save the day here for Sen. In fact, Sen is making a lot of Zerglings here, and maybe thinking about making a big counterattack, and this is smart, you know? If your Protoss player has invested this many into Phoenixes, he probably doesn't have that many ground forces, and in fact, Socke only has 3 sentries, and make that 4 sentries and a zealot, and the cannons are just now starting to go up, so this Nexus is extremely vulnerable. The Phoenix have decided to fly back, but what good are they against Zerglings? And the Nexus here is most likely gonna get picked off. Is Socke gonna cancel the Nexus? He will have to cancel and recuperate his 350 minerals. Yeah, there we go, canceling the Nexus at the very last second. I believe he got the money back. Yes indeed, he has 800 saved up almost, so Socke here in a bit of a desperate situation now, as he's forced to fight up against all these speedlings, and this is so smart by Sen, making a counter with speedlings. When, you know, you see your opponent going 1 gate into Stargate, you know most likely he's building all of these air units, and in fact, you saw all those Phoenixes, so you know he is super vulnerable on the ground, so you make a push out with all these Zerglings, and that just did some serious damage to Socke, who is now, in fact, let's go ahead and open up that tab I was talking about earlier, has lost 2 workers. But in terms of economy, he is very far behind because he hasn't really been able to produce that many workers at all. He's only got 30 harvesters underneath the Zergs, 48. So he is down by quite a bit, and these Phoenixes aren't really going to be completely ineffective. There's so much anti-air inside the Zerg Natural and the Zerg Main. With those Spore Crawlers, with the Queens, I just do not see these Phoenixes doing any damage at all. And, you know, when it comes to a big brawl, Phoenixes, unfortunately, unless you're fighting against Mutalisks, they are not very cost-effective at all. They're just paper planes that have little pea shooters on them. They just don't do anything. Even the Graviton Beam isn't really that good against Zerg in a big army battle, because what are you going to lift off? Zerglings and Roaches? It's really not going to be helpful at all, and I'm really surprised that Socke is continuing to make Phoenixes here. In fact, he has constructed an additional Stargate to help double the production rate of his Phoenixes, and he has got a large army of Phoenixes in production. He's got 3 back in the main. He's transferring more probes over to his newly constructed Nexus as well, and you know, this is very intriguing that Socke has decided to go for mass Phoenix when he knows that Sen has mass Zerglings. And we have +2 weapons, +1 Carapace now coming for the Zerglings. So, man, those Zerglings are going to be so bad. And when I mean bad, I mean darn good against the Protoss army. Socke right now still flying around with his Phoenixes. In fact, we have a 3rd hatchery being constructed down to the bottom right hand corner of the map. That is the 5 o'clock location. Void Ray immediately being sent down there, and I think that hatchery will probably get picked off. But at the same time, Zerglings now flooding around the side of the map. May attempt to run into the Protoss here. It is secured, and thankfully Socke even throwing up a couple force fields just for security's sake, making sure that those Zerglings cannot run inside, and the Void Ray now starting to hammer down onto the hatchery. Meanwhile, Phoenixes have begun to Graviton Beam Roaches, but with 4 Queens in the back, those Phoenixes will have to run for high cover, and they'll have to find a better spot to fight, because that is just not going to work out. It looks like the hatchery may actually go down, but here comes the Queens. Oh, they have run out of creep though, so they are very slow, and I think this hatchery will probably get taken out. Oh no, Socke here, his Void Ray was not on force attack. It was not on right-click force attack on the hatchery, rather it was on auto attack. So as soon as the queens came in range, the Void Ray decided to change its mind, and as a result, the hatchery has now been transfused back up to 551 health, and Socke cannot like the result of that, now bringing in the Phoenixes to pick off the queens. And if he can kill off all these queens, then he's got a pretty good shot at finishing off the hatchery. And wow, that's a lot of Phoenix that have just flown in. Protoss Airways at your service, now gonna lift off Hydras, and all these Hydras are gonna be one-shotted by that many Phoenixes, and the hatchery now starting to dwindle down. And I think this hatchery is gonna go down. Nothing in range, and except this lonely Hydra, which I don't think is gonna be able to kill his hatchery. Oh no, Socke once again on auto attack, and the Hydra kills off the Void Ray, saving the hatchery with 48 health, 49 health. What the heck is going on here? The Zerg now starting to bring back his Zerglings. I don't know what is going on. The Phoenixes have flown in and are harassing the drone line, but there's actually way too many Spore Crawlers there for those Phoenixes to handle. In fact, Sen now has so much saturation, he needs a third to bring his drones over to, and thankfully his drone is still, his hatchery is still alive at the third. It has 59 health. My goodness, Sen here with a stroke. I don't know if it was a miracle or brilliance, but that Hydra that came out of the hatchery saved the hatchery. Socke realizing the hatchery is still alive. He is not happy about that, and all these drones coming over to saturate that third location. I think Socke is going to throw everything he's got to finish off that hatchery. He's got Void Rays just chilling on the map right here. I think he's got like one or two somewhere. Yeah, there's one with the Phoenix Army. Here we go. Socke committing, killing off all these Hydras, but the Spore Crawler in the back kills off the Void Ray. Sen wisely focus firing the Spore Crawler on the Void Ray, telling the Spore Crawler to hit the Void Ray because he knew that was the only thing he needed to worry about. He kills it off, and as a result, the hatchery once again stays alive at 79 health. Remember, hatcheries regenerate HP, so that hatchery is continuing to get stronger and stronger. And Socke once again committing another attack fleet to take that out. It looks like we have Roaches and Zerglings moving over to the top left-hand 11 o'clock location. Maybe gearing up for an attack here as a Void Ray trying to go around the backside, but there's not enough room back here to pick off that hatchery, especially not with this many Hydras. And oh wow, Sen may have to fall, or Socke may have to fall back, find a better day. I don't think he's going to be able to kill off that hatchery. He may be able to kill off this one here at the inside 4 o'clock location though. And the Void Ray is starting to focus down on that one, and yep, gets canceled. So Socke will be happy to pick off at least one hatchery, but what an unconventional strategy for Socke here. And I think he needs to get a third Nexus up if he wants to continue this strategy, because you guys can see he is very, very gas starved. He has all these minerals saved up and not really that much gas at 1700 minerals and 500 gas. He needs to get more gas, A, for Colossus, and B, to continue to fund these Phoenix and Void Rays. And oh wow, launching a force field here to split this Zerg army in half, and he may actually be able to kill off all the Zerglings and the Roaches. The Phoenixes here coming in to pick off Roaches, and the lonely Zealots and Sentries below will actually be able to clean up the rest of the Zerglings with the help of the force fields. I take that back, guys. Phoenixes are actually pretty darn good at lifting off and killing off Roaches and Hydras. I mean, when you've got this many with +1 weapons, why not? They are pretty effective. And yes, Socke is going into Colossus. I was worried about it for a second, but it looks like Socke has now transitioned into 2 Robo Bays with the Robotic Support Base researching the Thermal Lances. And that is going to be absolutely necessary to deal with the Roaches and Hydras, especially mainly Hydras, towards this late game, because eventually those Phoenixes are just going to get outnumbered by large armies of Hydras. In fact, if we pull up the units tab, 20 Hydralisks, an Infestor also to kind of go in with the mix, and we have a lot of Zerglings in production as well. So Sen right now has +2 Carapace, +1 weapons. His Zerglings have +2 Carapace and +2 weapons. And he is at 180 supply. He's got a Hydra Infestor army right here in the center of the map. So his army tabs are once again showing that he is superior over Socke. And I think that can only be attributed to the fact that Socke was never able to kill off this third hatchery. I think the game entirely hinged on Socke killing off Sen's third expansion right here, but unfortunately for him, he was not able to kill it off, and Sen was able to macro up a lot of minerals, get a lot of the costs that he invested in this hatchery back from all these minerals and all this gas, and now he's got all these hydras and zerglings and an infestor out in the center of the map, and I think this could be a doom push by Sen. I don't see Socke holding this off. He needs his Colossus. He needs his entire army here. In fact, there's a hatchery going up right below the nose of the Protoss Natural, and here we go. The Hydra army is here. It's going to start to pound away at these gateways. Where are the Colossus? Socke is waiting for more Colossus in the back before he engages. I don't know if he has time to wait, and the infestors have come in to launch the fungal over these Phoenixes, and the Phoenixes really dwindling in number right here and losing all their shields. Finally the Colossus engaging, but at what cost? The entire Protoss infrastructure at the Natural has been decimated. All the gateways, the warp gates have gone down, all the buildings have gone down, and I think just pure Hydras alone is going to crush Socke, and in fact that is what's going to happen, and kind of sticking salt in the wound by launching Infested Terrans as well, just to end this game and really propel Sen as the victor in this series. Once again, guys, I just want to say Sen is your winner of the third place for the HD World Tournament. He has been granted $250 of prize pool money. Brilliant play by both players, in fact, and I have to say that a little bit of unconventional strategy by Socke, and all that hinged on killing off this hatchery. If his Void Rays had been right-clicking on the hatchery rather than A-attacking, if that Hydralisk had not come out at the very last second to save the hatchery, and this hatchery had gone down, I think this game would have taken a very different turn for the worse for our Zerg player. And Socke might have won this game and moved on to a Game 4, but as it stands, Sen is your victor, guys. Give him a round of applause. He is hailing from Taiwan. He has just taken home $250 for third place. And next up, guys, we have the conclusion of the HD World Tournament. It is going to be Straylock versus Damaga. It will be a Terran versus Zerg Grand Finals. It will be a best of 7. Second place will get $500, and first place gets $1,000 first place prize money. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Best of 7 series, the conclusion of the HD World Tournament, coming up next.